I mean, that was great just because I got the call to meet with the director, and it was already Antonio Banderas and Salma Hayek involved. And so for me, I grew up watching, that's like mom and dad, you know? Like growing up, that was mom and dad. So I was like, this is awesome. Like I couldn't believe that I was gonna be the third amigo, basically. And so when I got the call that I got it and I was gonna be a part of this, it was really great just because Perrito is such a sweet character. He looks at the glass half full instead of half empty, and I think sometimes we forget that. We've had like a couple of really rough years lately, you know, and I think that sometimes we need someone like that in our life. We need like a Perrito. We need someone who's encouraging. And if you look at his story, he probably has the most tragic story out of all of them, and he chooses to still be uplifting and still want a career as a therapy dog, like to help others, which I found very like endearing. I was like, that's really sweet and cute. And I was like, how do I play him without making him such like an overachiever, like trying to make his goal, for his life goal to come to fruition, but to more like to make him just day by day stop and smell the roses. So remember, with acting and voiceover, you can't really use your body, your facial expressions. You only rely on the inflection of your voice. And so you have to be able to tell a story and convey those feelings just with your voice, which is harder than it looks, you know? So when I got the script and I was like, I really want to make sure that this lands right. And after I saw the final product, it was like, even I was like, oh, this is really sad. This is dramatic. Especially that scene where he talks about his past, experiences, where his family they used to live with, they used to play a practical joke on him. They used to put him in this sack and they put rocks in it in the bottom of the ocean. They put him in the water, they drown him, and then everyone's like, what? And he's like, and then joke's on them, because like I cut a hole through the sock and now I have a sweater. It's the idea that he got a sweater out of the sack that he was put in with rocks and thrown into a river is kind of insane. And he wears that sock as like, I overcame it. I won. I rose above it. So I think it's a good reminder to all of us, just like always look at the glass half full and a little more Perrito.
And one real moment that I think stood out to a lot of people was the moment with the panic attack. And so I would love to get your reaction or your, just how you felt when you saw that scene played out, maybe when you read it for the first time too.
Yeah, I mean, it's very important, I feel. I know plenty of people who suffer from anxiety, and sometimes it can be dismissed as not like a real thing, or it's just like, oh, just take a breather or just relax. And it's a real thing, There's moments where I've had anxiety, just like with like work or something, and it's a real thing that happens to people, and it's a reminder of how we should be a little more, patient, and a little more open-minded, and a little more open-hearted to people when they're having a rough day. With Puss being in a situation where his last life is at risk, and he might be dying if he doesn't get away from the wolf. That's definitely a reason for an anxiety attack. I think that would be enough of a reason. And when Perrito just comes and he's trying to be helpful and he's trying to see what's wrong, Puss, and he's trying to see what he can do. Sometimes all you can do is be there, right? Sometimes all you can do is be there. Sometimes maybe your friend doesn't need you to tell him ideas, tell her ideas, or tell them ideas of what might work. Sometimes all you gotta do is be there. Just be there, and maybe just in silence. And maybe a touch, or maybe no touch, maybe just a presence. And so watching that scene, and just from our sound engineers did an amazing job, just like where his world goes from like a high pitch of like, echoing sound of like, what's wrong, Puss? And it's like, that like, echoing of what's in his head, to the relaxation of his heart pulsing and like just slowing down and relaxing. And that was just beautifully done, I think. And that's all the credit to the animators and the director, because that really kind of shows you what it could feel for someone who's going through an anxiety attack, and how to be there for someone. And I think Perrito succeeded in that. So so it's a beautiful film, and I'm glad that everyone liked it. And it was nominated for an Academy Award.
I know!
Crazy.